They see this big check and the leader's not doing anything and they're over promoting another deal, and what do? They freeze the check, they stop you from getting paid. But it's not about that, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like this, I feel like I don't build in power, I build my own affiliate position, like the people that I sponsor, but you build your business, it's yours. You know what I mean? It's yours. And I mean, the last thing that we'll do, unless the lawyers tell us that the whole company will get shut down. That's I say lawyers and immediately want to say shit. But the last thing that we're going to do is kick somebody out who's built an income here. I don't care what they do. Now, do I want people to focus, especially at our events? I mean, Dave probably mentioned, we have no cross pitching at our events. Hopefully, everybody here knows, but some of you are new. There's no warnings there. If you pitch at our events, we'll just kick you out and you'll never be able to come back, right? So at our events are a sacred space for empowered people. But people here are free. And it's a beautiful thing to be free, because I find it's like the dog that you don't lock inside always wants to come back in the house. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying you guys are dogs by any stretch of the imagination, but the principle's the same with a child. I mean, what happens if you tell a child not to climb something? I don't have children, so I only know what I did, which is climb the thing that I was told not to climb. You know what I mean? They say don't. I actually I like joking about back and forth, between like Tony Rush's atheistic philosophy and then just taking things out of the Bible, because I just like being a weirdo, but I like the I like the Adam and Eve story, because Adam and Eve are in a garden and God pops up and he says, you can do anything you want to do, anything but touch that. Of course, what do, right? And so they touch the only thing, you know what I mean? I'm giving you one rule, you know what I mean? I'm giving you one rule. Don't do this, and then of course they go do that. So here I want people to be free. I want freedom here. And I had a guy, and this is at the other event, and I actually did remember to finish the story. And he's a homosexual guy, you know what I mean? Which for me, I don't care. I mean, to me, that's he likes men the way that I like women. You know what I mean? It's just I mean personally, I think that's weird, but he can do what he wants, And he comes up, he says, Dave, if and he stuttered, and he says, if I'm successful, and I have a boyfriend, and I walk across the stage with my boyfriend, who's this guy. And I said, yeah, you sit on his lap and give him a French kiss, too, for all I know. As long as you don't mind if, somebody comes up after that and they're talking about Jesus in their speech, I don't care, you know what I mean? Because we just want you guys to be able to be you and be able to live the life that you want to live. And that is a different space to be in, because I am not about being the richest person in network marketing. Now, it's cool to be rich. I mean, gosh, we get to do all this neat stuff like buy retarded watches. And the reality is, it's kind of nice to know the time. I never knew the time before. I'm still late to everything. It doesn't help with that. Now I know I'm late. You know what I'm saying? It's like, Dave, you're going over on your speech. It's like, oh, yeah, I am. It says right there on my watch. That's what I bought it for, is to know when I'm late. So I can at least be aware. But in any case, this weekend is about transformation. Okay, and everybody here, you came for something different. Everybody here, right? And even the people who are having success here, you're here for some reason, right? And hopefully, after hearing the speakers, there are different levels of success, right, Tony? It's not any harder making $140,000 a month than it is making $15,000 a month, is it? Not here. I mean, not real. Now, we got to delete that from the internet. It's very hard, very, very hard. But the truth is it's the same. It's a philosophical change is what creates the change in income. It's a philosophical change in what you're doing, right? Because if I was still planning our events, well, my time would be consumed with the events and I wouldn't be able to focus on anything new. But as you guys will see when you go into this event, it's like 100 times better than our other events, and I had exactly zero input in any of the decision-making process there. And that just feels really good because I can do other things with my day. You know what I mean? That allows you to make more money, being able to leverage yourself. I asked Tony the other day, I said, well, where are you advertising now? Because I was actually trying to, give a point to some other guys on why Tony duplicates as fast as he does, right? And the truth is Tony duplicates as fast as he does. A lot of people in here, you've worked harder than Tony. I'm just being real. A lot of you have put in, there's people in here who have put in more people than Tony that are making dramatically less money than Tony. Same thing's true with Vic too. Vic just like says, somebody gets in and then he just, has an automated email that says get all in, and they just hypnotically go over and they buy everything, somehow. But, we've got people who do less work and they make more money than you here, right? So some of us think we've arrived, but then we meet somebody that shifts our own world, don't we? You know what I mean? Like Vic comes in, that kind of shifted my world a little bit. I'd never seen somebody do what he'd done in Empower. I'd never seen really anybody do that anywhere or heard about it. I actually think he set a record for first month's earning in network marketing ever. I think he did. So sometimes you see something and it just kind of, rips open your universe there a little bit. You know what I mean? It's a stretch thinking about $100,000 a month when the most you've ever made in a month is $1,000. It's a stretch, right? But you realize that that's all it is a stretch in thinking, right? And so I asked Tony, I said, where are you advertising? Because of course he's up on the latest SEO tactics and knows everything about, how to split test everything. And he actually just pays a guy to manage his traffic now. It's easier, isn't it? Once you're there. Sometimes when you're in the grunt, you got to go out there and you just got to tap into your unconscious resources and figure out what you got to figure out. But then you get to a space and you're like, God, I got money and I don't want to do this anymore. And it actually frees you to do something new. And that's what I want you guys to encourage you to do this weekend I want to encourage you to learn something new. To learn something new this weekend. And to also be instrumental in changing the beliefs of those around you by lifting them up, believing in them, and telling them stories that will empower them. Hey, John Chapman, see you in the back there, brother. Good to see you in the leaders room. Hey, I remember that guy. We were in a deal, and he loved it, and I loved it. We were after the long-term residual, which I then cursed several people in network marketing by passing that philosophy on to them inadvertently before I realized that it's the most retarded way to think ever. And then that prevented them from making money until they're like, wait a minute, long-term residual means a long time of making nothing but a very small amount of residual, is what it means, But, I sort of cursed, John Chapman with that there for a little while, so we were in this deal that was selling personal development. And it wasn't like Empower personal development, which is actually good, right? It was like old guys in 10-minute videos, and every 10-minute video was pitching you on going to their website and opting in, you know what I mean? It's like, Brian Tracy gets up, he's like, hi, I'm Brian Tracy, here's how to set goals, and it's 10 minutes of boring, and then he's like, if you really want to know how to set goals, go to briantracy.com, And so that's what, right, Lawrence, he knows. And then that company, they closed down, and then John, he jumped to a water deal. You know what I mean? I don't know if you remember that conversation, John, but I remember it like it was yesterday because I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I enjoyed a thing, and I think that thing might not have been the best way to make money either. Looking back, I think I was also kind of dumb. But, John was in this thing, and it was a water deal, and I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but they were selling water. And I burst into laughter when I looked at the product because there was all this science in the magical water, you know what I mean? And I'm not insulting water. Hell, you can sell water or shoes or diapers for all I care. I met another guy selling some sort of vagina cream. And I just told you that because I wanted to say vagina out loud. But so John's in this. Keep getting more outrageous. But John's in this water deal, and I kind of snickered and burst into laughter. And I wasn't mean to make fun of him. I just thought it was funny. And he's like, well, what's funny? And I said, John, you're selling like $240 a month of water. And I burst into laughter again. And he's like, well, what? He says, no, it's got all this science in it. I said, John, here's what's going to happen. Let me just predict it for you. I said, you're going to start building this business, and you're going to get some people in because you're fanatical about network marketing. He's another weirdo, you know what I mean? It's like, we do this and we're weird, So John's like this other guy. He's like, I love network marketing, like me, like why? You know what I mean? Well, now I'm rich, so it's cool. But at first it was like, I loved it, and I was wandering around in suits making no money, and I still loved it for some weird reason, right? But so John's in this thing. I said, I'll tell you what's going to happen is you'll get people in because they want to make money. And then they're going to realize they're spending $240 a month on water. And they're all going to just cancel the auto ship because nobody will spend that much money every month on bottled water. And they're going to look at the second bottles of water that come in because they won't finish the first bottles that they order. And then they're going to say, shit, I did it again. And isn't that network marketing most of the time? I had my first experience with that in a vitamin deal. I was building this deal, and then, I'd get people to buy $1,000 of vitamins up front, because of course you need samples to pass out, which nobody does. It goes in their closet. They pass the samples out to their closet, is what they do. They're trying to get their closet in. And we're like, and I had this one guy, he came to meetings for 8 months straight, and he refused to give out a sample, because what if it was the wrong prospect? He wanted to save them, so he just literally saved them in the closet, as his auto ship collected. But what would happen is the second or the third month, people would go in their closet, and then they would look at the piles of vitamins, and then they'd get a new box, and they'd be looking like this, and they'd have 4 boxes of vitamins on the auto ship, because of course you gotta stay healthy. And then they'd look at their closet, and then they'd look at their box, and then they'd look at the closet, and then they'd say, shit. I've been spending $240 a month on vitamins. And I know, I'm not better than any of them, because I just keep buying vitamins because I want to be healthy, and I forget that I have a bunch of half-open bottles in my closet. You know what I mean? But isn't it funny what people will buy just to get money? Isn't it? Yeah. And what people will defend is the best thing ever just to get money. You know what I mean? Like I remember I was making fun of this energy drink deal. Check the watch. Is it 5:30? 5? Okay. I just want to make sure it's in the right time zone as you guys look at my watch. What time is it? No. It's like we defend everything, though, don't we? You know what I mean? No, it's the best. It's the best. These people are in this energy drink deal, and it's like, you're like, it's energy drinks. No, it's got vitamin B12 in it. You know what I mean? It was blessed by a Buddhist monk picking the berries one by one on the top of Tibet. In Tibet, they meditate a lot, and these grow on Tibet next to the people that meditate. And also, there's this comp plan, And if you get 5 and they get 5 and we're all broke together, one day I'll be rich. That's the truth. I was talking to a buddy of mine. It was actually hilarious what happened after this conversation in St. Pete's. And, this guy has made a lot of money in network marketing and was a little disenchanted and, disenchanted with what he was doing. And I was sitting down with him and I said, can I just be honest with you, dude? And he said, yeah. And I said, there's no money in MLM. And he said, he was making good money, $50,000 a month or something like that. The check's a little bit down from what it was before. And he's like, huh? Because I make a lot of money, and people think I'm making a lot of money in MLM, which I suppose we could say, Power Network is MLM. It's a weird one, but it technically and legally is. So I can't knock all MLM. But I was like, there's just no money in it, dude. What are you talking about? I said, how many people you got in your team? It was 50,000. So it's like you earn $1 a person, right? Now I want you guys to imagine a room of 50,000 people. It's 10 times the size of this room that we're going to be in a couple of hours. 10 times the size. 10 times, right? So imagine 10 times the people, like a football field, so you can make 50,000 and have an army of people making 200 a month, right? So if you guys, I had a company and I'm just being real for a second, to be truthful with you, because I want to be honest about the universe to the best of my ability, although knowing that I'm pretty much wrong about everything, So I don't think that I'm right. I don't claim the perfect philosophy. I'm just looking and being real. It's I can get people into stuff. I know how to do that. And, I got a friend who's got $250,000 or 300,000 people in a deal, and it's how much do you make? And they're making good money, $100,000 a month, So it's 25 cents a person, that's a lot of people to make very little amounts of money. And I think we got some head shaking there from direct response marketers who are that's the craziest damn thing I've ever heard in my life, right? And everyone knows, you've had 5,000 people in your... Guys, just don't be seduced by the dark side of the force. And I'm not telling you guys not to do MLM. I'm just telling you that if you want to take a long time to make no money at all, go build a huge downline in something that pays you 2 cents off each level. It's just the way to do it, It's the best way to be really frustrated and look like a dork to all your friends, Why does MLM really have a bad name with people's friends? Well, it's because all their friends who have been in MLM have had I've got a team of 200 people in my right leg in a binary that was placed there by my upline that I just happen to not earn commissions on, but I got a big team of 200. Well, if they had 200,000, they might make 150,000 a month. I had another friend in this vitamin deal that I was in. He put 250,000 people in this company. 250,000. 250,000. I'm just going to repeat that out loud, because that still is about twice what we got in Power Network. 250,000. And I saw him do it from scratch. He's a brilliant network marketer. And I saw him do this and put all these people in this deal. You know how he had at the end of that in 4 years? You know how many people were on that auto ship? 2,000. Right? 2,000. You know. Yeah, so now he's selling info products, right?
Tenth of a percent.
But I wonder.
It's like a tenth of a percent.
But why does this industry have a bad name? It's because people can't do what we can do here, right? And they just don't know this exists because this is different. This is different. I believe it's a different model altogether, and I don't really think that it's top tier, and I don't really think that it's network marketing. I think that it's something new. And I think that together we can do something even newer and more beautiful because aren't we impacting the world? I mean, you guys have been changed financially. This is just the start of it. We only got our stuff in English now. Just wait, you know? Right? We got Anchor Grawal in here, right? He's from India. You guys see him? I actually bought a product of yours, buddy, a few years back. You guys know him? You know, I remember I got in line and I ran into Dagan Smith, right? And Dagan, I just like Dagan. You know, I mean, he's a friend of mine, and you know, I just like him. He's such a good, isn't he cool guy? And a nice guy. You know, when somebody's a good guy, I don't care if they're in power. I'm just going to say that man is badass. I love that guy. I respect him, right? This guy launched a product. What is it called? The 33,000 downline code, right? Because he built a team of what, 33,000. He's bigger at that point by the time he launched the product. But in 2 years, it's 2 years. In 4 years, it went to 100,000, right? So that was in India, and he had this formula in India where he was doing PPC, and then he'd get people in a meeting and then close it with a meeting. It worked really well over in India, amazingly well. I actually learned a lot going through that guy's course just about people in reading it, but you know, the world is a big market, you know, and there's going to be new opportunities opening up for all of us to make more money as time goes by. So my goal is just to help you guys make more money than anybody else, just because I think it's cool, and also be happy and not have to do all the bullshit everybody else has to do. You know, I'll tell you what most company owners would do in a situation like this. They're like, I got everybody in a room, let's use my hypnotic powers to get all of you to go work as hard as possible because, you know, you're going to quit because you can't make any money. Right? That's what people do. I'm serious. You know, if you look at, you know, what would you get? You know, that's what people graduate to. They first start a distributor and they do top tier, and then they're like, I'm going to start my own network marketing deal, right? And you know, I think that there's a glorious thing in actually giving people a chance. You know, and I'm telling you something here. I've never seen people succeed this much in my life. I was not expecting it when I launched the company. I knew people would make more, but what I wasn't expecting was you. Because you guys are beautiful. Now, guys, you know, you're hot or whatever, but think about me like I'm a girl with big boobs saying that, right? I just say the weirdest shit ever, but you know... Or crying, right? They're like, he said that again. But you know, guys, I just think it's an amazing thing when you guys succeed. I think it's an amazing thing when your team succeeds. Even when I'm not, you know, a lot of you guys already make nothing off of it in the room. You know, you're like 18 levels down, sponsored by a guy who sponsored a guy. Some of you guys are 4 6-figure earners down in Empower Network, you know what I mean? A 6-figure earner sponsored a 6-figure earner, sponsored a multiple 6-figure earner, sponsored another one who sponsored you, right? Chuck Marshall, I mean, Chuck, you're right there. You know, who's your sponsor? Who's his sponsor? Okay, so he's a couple levels down, and I don't earn any money from Chuck's codes either, right? How much do you make a month? Oh, I make money on the 3,500 one? The 500. I make money off the 500 one with Chuck, right? Well, Chuck, you know, and then he's got, you know, Mac, and I don't make any of the codes off of Mac, right? Those are all connected to you. And, you know, I don't make money from any of the 6-figure earners down in your organization either, right? Or Mike Hobbs and Adam, are they in the room? Huh? Okay, so now you got sponsored by Justin, who was sponsored by Paul. Now I earn codes off of Paul. I think I actually got one of the codes off of Justin because Paul didn't come to an event. He's learned, huh? Oh, I think he didn't come to the event. He was focused on the long-term residual, right, Paul? I know, I cursed him. Right? I taught Paul, and I was like, Paul, don't be distracted. Focus on the long-term residual. Right? Long-term residual. Right? And poor Paul, you know, it's probably cost him, I don't know, 30 or 40, 50,000 from Justin not coming to the event. But here's what happened is he was off focus on his long-term residual and started making more here doing nothing than he was in his long-term residual because Justin took off. My sneaky strategy. And then you know, he looks at this company and he looks at us and it's like cooler, funner, and doing what he's actually doing, so he doesn't even have to get people in on the internet and then lie to them and say, you know, do 3-way calls anymore, you know what I mean? I'm teasing you, Paul, slightly. But it's brutal, isn't it? Don't you feel bad a little? I used to do that, get people in, and it's like, go work hard, and I'm sitting in Costa Rica being like, I wish these people would actually be able to succeed. But here they can. And I'm not saying other stuff's bad, I'm just saying, look at the success here. Look at the success here, guys. You guys heard, Rashkin up here, Tony Rudd. I know we bring Tony up a lot, like, people think he's always successful. Guys, I know where he was a year and a half ago now, because he's told the story. He's broke, he's broke. People think Chris, they've always been rich. They had to start over here. You guys know that? Right? They share their own story, but they have to start over here. People think, Tissa, and I can't pronounce his last name because it's weird. He'll share his story tonight. I didn't know his story. I didn't know what he was in. Kevin, people look at him like, oh yeah, he's always been making money. Yeah, like forgetting that 9 months ago, he was down to his last $500 and used everything he had to get all in, right? Alex Z finally, got fired from the job so you It's funny because these engineer-type personalities that you get in network marketing normally never make any money. Isn't that true? You know what I mean? They never make anything. It's only the weirdos who just work all day and night. The people on the phone and doing meetings and calling grandmas, and they're doing marketing and they're doing all this stuff. And they're making money, from all their team of like grandmas. And I'm not making fun of grandmas because we actually got grandmas making money here, right? And they're all welcome to get money, right? Yeah. Carol, she's a grandma. She's making money. She doesn't look like a grandma. She told me she's a grandma. I was like, bullshit. She looks young. You know what I mean? But when you make money and are free, you just look a little younger and sexier, right? It's amazing how much sexier Lawrence Tam has become. Just the other day, I was walking by, just kind of reached out, touched his butt a little bit because his forehead was showing. Guys, we're some goofballs here at Empower, but I want you guys to know something, that this is the most talented group of people that has ever been in any company, especially that's this size, and they're here for a reason. They're here because there's something magical here. And you guys will see it more this weekend, especially some of you, who's here at your first event? There's some people in the room. Look at how many new leaders. All of you will see something you've never seen in your life. Congratulations, guys. Thanks for being here. All of you will see something that you've never seen in your life, and that's a room full of success, okay? Not everybody's as successful as you yet, and a lot of them aren't only because they don't believe that they can do it, they don't believe that it's easy, right? A lot of you guys, the only reason you're not making $100,000 a month is because you think it's harder than what you're making now, right? I actually I was talking to somebody the other day, I'm not mentioning who he is, but he's like, he's been stuck at a level, and he was talking to me about wine. He's like, I realized something, that I feel bad about making this kind of money that I'm making when my family's all struggling. And so he's just not doing what it takes to make more, right? Now that's an interesting realization, isn't it? I was talking to another guy the other day, and he says, I realized finally why I'm not succeeding the way that I want. I said, why is that? He says, because my kid is the most important thing in the world. Like that has anything to do with success. Now he's realized that, I was like, well, what does that have to do with it? Well, when, this particular guy was a kid, the father was successful and never home, right? So there's a lot of people in the room that need your story. There's a lot of people in the room that need to hear John Chapman's story. There's a lot of people in the room that need to hear the stories that aren't on stage this weekend, and we're bringing as many people on stage as possible. There's a lot of people in the room that need to hear Rob Ford's real story, because who knows what he actually does. You know what I mean? A lot of people in here need to hear Toby and Layla's story. They need to hear Chris Recker's real story that I just found out the other day. A lot of people need to hear your story. A lot of new people need to see Lawrence and see that he's actually not a god. Although I actually think that he may be the son of Zeus. Zeus was actually part Asian. But a lot of people need to hear about this, and they need to hear about you. And when they see you, all they need to do is see it once, and everything will change for them, right? A lot of people need to hear Kevin Souse's story, about how you found your brother by writing a blog post. You know what I mean? You guys, anybody here not know what I'm talking about? Anybody here not know what he's talking about? Hey, Kevin, come on up here, brother. I want to hear you tell this. It's funny because people generally think this is just a fake watch, because I'm in Costa Rica, I wear it around. I probably shouldn't do that. But generally, when somebody's wearing a gold watch in Costa Rica, it's a fake gold watch because, of course, it's Central America. But occasionally, I'm walking somewhere and somebody knows watches and they see it and they freak out a little bit. As I walk by, hey, can you share that story about your brother? I was touched by that, and I appreciate you being great. Hey, give him a hand, folks.
Well, I'll tell you, the tangibles and the intangibles. The intangibles sometimes have even more value than the tangibles, the income. And the things that happen when you're in action, when you take action, are, and don't mind me, I'm taken back by this. Last November, I was thinking, what do I write on my blog today? What do I write? Well, I was missing my parents because they both have deceased. And my sister Cheryl and I were born from a different dad. My mom remarried when my dad passed away, and we never saw him. We never saw a picture of him. And I wrote about that, and I put his full name in my blog post. Well, unbeknownst to me, that ranked in the search engines, because if someone writes his entire full name in Google, it's going to be the first thing that pops up, because no one else has written his name down. Joseph Edward Emile St. Onge. And about 6-7 weeks ago, that's what it was, I got a Facebook message that said, Kevin, you don't know me, but I'm 99.9% sure that my father and you are brothers. And of course, red flags went up, and I said, where was he buried? Because I figured I'm the only one who knows that. And he told me, Sacred Heart Cemetery in New Bedford, Massachusetts, on Pleasant Street. My heart hit the floor. I said, what else can you tell me? He said, I can send you an email of his obituary. And I had never seen that. And he did. Needless to say, we proved that it was true. A brother I never knew for 56 years found me as a result of the Empower Network. That's worth a lot more than money. But don't get me wrong, the money's great too. And so, needless to say, I live in Kentucky with my beautiful wife. We got married New Year's Eve right before the last of it. And my sister and he live in New Bedford, Massachusetts. So, of course, she met with him and caught up and so forth. And I haven't met him yet, but I will on May 4th. And if these two guys here did not think of the Empower Network, I don't think I would have ever been united with a brother I never knew existed. And so I'm grateful to you guys. The bottom line is, take action. Believe in your dream. Want it. Know that it exists. It's not in the future, it's right now. And it's based on a mindset and a decision to commit to that which you want to achieve, whether it's a tangible or an intangible. You may not have a brother or a sister or a family member that unites or finds you, but you know what? The intangibles are there. And in addition to the income that you all deserve, you'll also experience the intangibles. And I thank God my brother found me. You can do it too.